Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies. I got to respectfully start by saying happy Veterans Day to everybody who has served this great country of ours. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. God bless every single one of you for your service, all the branches, Marines, Air Force, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, whatever it is that you do, weekend warrior, I don't give a damn. Thank you for all the work that you put in to make our great country what it is. Salute from the bottom of my heart. Now that we got that out of the way, let me just start this off by saying I have a headache. I have to sit here and, it's almost difficult when you cover a team to actually leave the computer. You want to stop by the grocery store, get a little cereal, a little Captain Crunch, little Fruit Loops, something of that nature. You find yourself in the aisle and you realize, your notifications are going off. People are texting you because news happens. So I hit up my guys, Jake, Jaleel, Brandon. I hit up my homegirl, Tressany. Hey, can you guys grab this? Can you guys cover this? Because I'm literally at the grocery store right now. Stuff keeps happening. You can't go to sleep because you wake up in the morning and you realize that, something else has popped off. You can't take naps in the middle of the days if you stay up all night trying to cover something that happened a little bit earlier in the day because something else pops off. Literally every time I leave the house or I take a nap, something happens. So you guys are going to have to help me out because as best I can, I promise y'all something, and I got to break that promise. I can't stop talking about Carson Wentz. This dude gets on my nerves. I know he doesn't play for Philly anymore. I know you guys are going to hit up the comment section. You guys are hitting me off of X. You guys are going to hit me on Instagram. You guys are going to hit me on Facebook. You're going to inbox me and you're going to tell me, stop talking about this guy. He's no longer an Eagle. I can't stop talking about this guy. I had to break that promise. He won't let me leave him alone. Carson Wentz will not go away. He won't stop. He just won't do it. But I will give Carson Wentz credit for something because I have to say I was wrong when I was wrong. And I was wrong because I said Carson Wentz finally had some humility. Why am I bringing him up? Because though it is sometimes bush league to sit here and tell you guys I told you so, I will never miss an opportunity to tell you I told you so about Carson Wentz. I was the first person. Everything's timestamped. I was the first person that told you guys this guy couldn't play. I was the first person that told you guys was weak mentally. I was the first person that sat here and told you guys this guy is not built for Philadelphia. And what did you do? You got angry. What happened? Oh, snap. Jeff was right again. Carson Wentz is the most mentally weak professional athlete I think I've ever seen in my life. I could go into the background. I could go into the Alshon Jeffrey comments. I can go into the fact that there were at least 3 wide receivers on his team that were out to get him. I can go into the fact that though he does have some friends on his team, he's always been a bad teammate. I can go into the fact that the best chance he had at redemption was going to Indianapolis with Frank Reich. I could go into the fact that he didn't resurrect his career with Frank Reich, and I told y'all that was going to happen. I can go into the fact that Deuce Staley was right. They did call him. I can go into the fact that the guy really just needs to hang it up, and he just never figured out that Carson Wentz is not what Carson Wentz thinks he is. I can't stop talking about this guy, and I can't even tell you what just happened. So I'm talking to Jake, Jaleel, Brandon before the show started, and I'm like, I really wasn't paying attention. I know he got signed, so tell me what happened. They told me what happened. I still don't really know what happened. I look and it says Matthew Stafford is going to retire. Then Matthew Stafford said he's not going to retire. Then I look and say Carson Wentz is coming here to take Matthew Stafford's job, and Matthew Stafford is in trouble. I'm not even going to say who wrote that because they don't pay us. To get mentioned on here, you got to send us a check. I can sit here and talk about the fact that we do understand that Matthew Stafford is actually better than Carson Wentz, right? That Carson Wentz may not actually see the field. Ginger Jesus, be gone. Wentz wagon broke down a long time ago, be gone. Take the food truck, take everything with you, take Army of One, take all that stuff. Please, Carson Wentz, go away. But he won't do it. And look at me. Because my job is to sit here and talk about a team every single day. I just can't stop, and I can't leave this guy alone. He annoys me, and I keep telling myself, I'm going to leave him alone. I'm going to stop talking about him. I'm going to stop telling you guys I was right and you was wrong. I'm going to stop telling you guys that I was the first one to sit here and tell you Jalen Hurts is going to be all right for the same reasons y'all told me he wouldn't, because Jalen Hurts has the work ethic, because Jalen Hurts is a better teammate, because Jalen Hurts has the will to survive. I said I would rather have a grown-up lead my team. I would rather be in the foxhole with Jalen Hurts than sit in the foxhole with Carson Wentz and know my back isn't covered. That's all I have to say about Carson Wentz until Carson Wentz does something else. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my brothers from other mothers to the stage with me, Jake Beckman. Jaleel. Brandon Parker. We call Brandon B-Pop. I got Brandon's the Matrix, B-Pop, the genius. I gave him every single one of them. Fellas, welcome to the broadcast. How you doing?
Well, I'm not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. The Carson Wentz signing. So does that mean that the Rams successfully got the number 1 and 2 overall draft pick from, what was that, 2016? Good for them. Look at them stockpiling and then getting rid of them.
F them picks. What's going on, B?
Doing good. You know, it's a nice bye week. It's allowing everyone to regroup, and then once we get back to the games next week, we'll all be divided again, talking about how much we hate the coordinators if they do bad, and how much we love them if they do good. Just typical football stuff.
Jaleel Thrill, I know you're probably mad at me, man. I told everybody to hit you up on Instagram and Twitter because we wanted to pick on you on the last show and things of that nature. And Jaleel, as busy as the guy is, he's like, I ain't got time to hang out with y'all guys. I got to cover the Spurs. So we started recruiting letters. We told him to hit you up, man, and everything because we wanted to pick on you about a couple things. But now so much has happened since then, man. I don't even remember what it was. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic, phenomenal, even. I wish you did remember what y'all wanted to pick on me about because I'm very interested. I had some things I wanted to get off my chest as well. I watched some of the show last week, and I was a little bothered by what I heard. So I'm gonna let y'all go first. Jake, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I know exactly what we're going to bother you about. Kenny Gainwell got the longest red zone rushing touchdown of the season so far.
Gainwell. We tried to make some good television here and everything. We know we was going to fire back on us. What you got?
I just want to know, are y'all trying to say that he's the best running back now? He's better than Swift? Y'all want more Kenny Gainwell touches?
I'm actually going to say he's the GOAT.
We know Kenny Gainwell's not the best running back on the team. All we wanted you to admit was he was better than what you kept saying he was. We wanted you to back off that.
I never said dude couldn't play. I never said.
We know that. We just wanted you to back off the in case of emergency break glass thing because I just don't want to beat the guy up. I actually believe he's better than what we say he is. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, he's had a rough stretch. Okay, I'm glad he got the touchdown. You know what I'm saying? That was great. It was also great for my fantasy matchup because the other guy I was playing with had DeAndre Swift, so I needed an Eagles win, but a humble performance from DeAndre Swift. So that was fine. It worked out perfectly for me. Not so much for Mr. Beckman over here, who has Swift on his team. Sorry about that, bro.
Yeah,
it's all right though. But when I tuned in to the show last week and I listened to the three of you talk because I remember Trestany was here as well. Everyone sounded so down. We just beat the Cowboys, and every single one of you were like, we beat them, and that's great, but I don't know how to feel, the secondary, this and that. The secondary gave up 300-plus yards again, yes, but they only scored 23 points, once again, below their season average. Listen, I was looking at a stat earlier. Teams run against us, like when it comes to attempts, the fewest out of anybody in the league. Teams they're throwing the ball because they know they can't run against us. They're the secondary. We know we've rolled out 8 different starting lineups in the secondary, and it's been difficult. That doesn't mean it's not going to get better, but y'all got to be happier. We just beat the damn Cowboys. We're 8-1 going into the bye. I needed the energy to be higher. I needed more excitement. I just didn't get that. It felt like we lost the damn game. What's up?
When you're right, you're right. Give him the correct buzzer. Give him the ball too. Can't argue with you when you're right.
To be fair, that was less than 24 hours after the game, and I was emotionally drained. You can go back and listen to it all you want. Yeah, listen. I was the goddamn guy talking. All right, I was emotionally drained one. I couldn't. I put myself through absolute hell in order to be able to the intro to that one where I recapped the last 11 minutes of that game. It took so much out of me. So
it was the longest rant in Inside the Eagles history. I think it went over 15 minutes.
I reserve the right to have had my emotions be absolutely downtrodden. Now, I agree. It's absolutely sick that we beat the Cowboys, and it's even sicker that the Cowboys, who always think of themselves as the older brother to the Eagles, are now, after that game, they're trying to do an emotional what's that called? There's no blank and there's no emotional loss. What is it called?
They're looking for moral victories.
Yeah, no more. They're looking for like, oh well, at least we can hang with the Eagles. They're doing that, and that's what's pathetic, and that's what's makes me happy. Other people's negative emotions towards their team is what I drive on. That's my Gatorade, baby.
You're right, but I still ain't got over this win, man. Like it was. I'm tired. Like I'm still exhausted. Like I never got my energy back after that game, man. It was like we went from we got this in the bag to we still got the full quarter to play. All they gotta do is score twice. To damn, they might actually score twice.
in all fairness, if you really look at it from like a 500-foot or eagle eye view, it's the type of game you would expect from two of the best teams in the NFC, and it just goes to the point the Eagles are just finding ways to win. The only caveat I will say is, they really got to figure out something that works with the secondary, because the minute they run, and honestly, I'm not sure if this team exists in the NFC. To be completely honest, I'm not sure if this type of team exists in the NFC, but there is going to be a team, if they make it that far, that is able to exploit that secondary and also slow down the Eagles' offense to a point where the Eagles are going to have a tough time. But full transparency, I don't know if that team exists in their conference. So it would be a Super Bowl team, whether it's the Ravens, the Bengals, a team along those lines, that I think in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's probably the toughest matchup for the Eagles. But they took care of the Cowboys to that extent. I think currently where both teams are, I think they can hang with the 49ers. The 49ers aren't built to exploit that weakness fully. And I think Detroit and the teams of those ilk, like Seattle, they're just not on that Eagles level. So it's a very nuanced issue and a very interesting issue where it's like, yeah, this is a problem that exists, but how much is that going to actually hamper them in the regular season and dealing with teams in the NFC? I think that's a question that might not even be answered this season. And if it is answered, it's going to be, well, the only issue they've ran into is in the Super Bowl against an AFC team.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, and it would really suck. Granted, there's still half of a season left, but it would really suck for that to happen on the highest stage. But as far as teams being able to slow down this offense, and really, it's just been the Jets, and I would argue that the Eagles did that to themselves. But time will tell.
There was a lot of ball moving in that Jets game, just a lot of turnovers that stopped, that momentum. But yeah, we got to be elated when we beat the Cowboys. That's, we get up for it. I'll tell you what about the energy. I already told y'all the whole family's into, the Eagles. Everybody came over to watch the Eagles game. At the beginning of it, as we
You'll pop back on in a second.
said, strap in, because this game is going to give you everything. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have the ups and downs and the just sunken, depressed, like we're going to lose again, because that's what happens when we play the Cowboys. We go through the full range of emotions. We get the whole experience. So I'm with you. It's very draining. But when it's over, man, you gotta wear that battle with pride, that victory with pride. You know what I'm saying? We came out, and like you said, Brandon, that's what you kind of expect when we have two really good teams. The never say die attitude from the Cowboys is what you expect from them. But at the end of the day, in the second half, we were up, 28-17?
Correct.
We're up 2 scores. And they're fighting to claw back, because we are still that team. So everybody that we have coming up on the schedule realizes that that's a potential loss on their schedule. It's not just us, right? Every single one of them. I was watching something on, I think it was ESPN. They're talking about our schedule coming up, and they said, now after the bye, now the tough part begins. And I was like, I thought the tough part began with Miami, and then I thought it began with the Cowboys, right? Like, so now it doesn't begin to until we play the Chiefs. So this tough stretch of our schedule that everybody was talking about is getting smaller and smaller. It seems. I find that very interesting. We beat the Chiefs. They're going to say now the tough part begins with the Bills.
Yeah, there's probably something to that. Yeah, because it always felt like it seemed like it was the there was the tough 6-game stretch, and then now it's the tough 5-game stretch. Now, to be fair, I think when people, I don't think people are going to say now it starts with the Bills. I think it's very much.
I just wouldn't be surprised, Jake.
You might not be wrong, but I think at the end of the day, and I think we kind of talked about this on Monday, at the end of the day, that Bills game is going to end up being one of those like, that looked harder at the beginning of the season. But so one thing we wanted to talk about today was since we're on our bye week, all the other NFC East teams are playing. We want to kind of look through what the other NFC East teams, and then also we'll tack in the Saints too, since the Eagles have their first round pick and we want them to do poorly. But what they have coming up for the rest of the season. Now, the Eagles, they've already swept the Commanders, so they're not in contention for any kind of NFC East title anymore. But already took one away from the Cowboys, so we're only looking at 3 NFC East matchups left for the Eagles. But let me see if this works. Does this work? It's not great. But that works. All right, so this is the Giants' schedule that they have coming up. So what are they currently? Are they 2-7 right now?
I see a bunch of losses.
Oh, man.
Maybe they win the Los Angeles game.
Yeah, I think the easier way to look at this is what is a game that the Giants can win.
Honestly, I see
Green Bay hadn't scored 20 points since like week 2, right?
Yeah, so looking at it, right, I would say New England, Green Bay, and LA would be the 3 they maybe have a shot in. New England, just because they've been a really, really weird and just not good team this year. Green Bay has been, well, they're a young team, and the young teams are just very strange. And then LA, who knows who's playing quarterback at that point?
Right. Yeah.
Won't be Carson Wentz.
When I look at this schedule, what it screams to me is the percentages, right? A lot of times ESPN and some of these other networks, they'll look at schedules and do like the percentage that, of winning. What percent chance do you give this team to win these games? And I'm looking at all these games, and I don't think they'll be favored in like a single one. Every single one is one that they should lose. I mean, it's the NFL, so anything can happen, but there's very possible that they don't win another game for the rest of the year.
What about Green Bay? Like, because Green Bay can't score either, right?
It depends on what day it is.
Yeah. That's a
Oh,
good
man,
point.
wait. That game's on Monday night. Oh.
We're getting a lot of bad primetime games.
Oh, no.
Man, I know, like for a bye week this week, it's like, all right, we get to sit down and watch some football, some stress-free football, and then it's freaking, what are the 2 losers that played last night? And
Bears, Panthers.
And then the Germany game is Gardner Minshew and Mac Jones, and then Sunday night is
excite you?
Is AOC and freaking that Wilson fella, and then on the best quarterback primetime game this week, or the best quarterback primetime game this week is freaking Russell Wilson and Josh Allen. Like, what? Shoot me in the face. So
I will be doing other things when those games are on. I'll have the game on, but I'll be like, I'll put it on my iPad while I like play Spider-Man or something.
There you go. But yeah, as far as like wins that so you're mentioning games that you don't think that they could that the Giants could be favored. Come that Week 18 game, Philly going to New York, if the Eagles are playing their backups, if it's a Marcus Mariota game, do we still think that the Eagles would be favored in that?
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely.
Listen, if
100%.
if I was behind center, we would be favored in that game.
Unanimous. That's great.
Yes,
I
believe the Eagles will be favored in that game. Yes.
Okay, so we're thinking. So that would mean that the say upside, the Giants could have 2 more wins. That would put them at what, 4-13?
4-13. I don't know what the Giants' record is. To be honest with you,
Let me take a look. Hold
They're
on.
2-7 right now. They have
They
9
are?
games
They are 2-7.
or 8 games left.
I don't see two. I don't see two
Or
more
2.
wins. I don't think they're going to beat New England.
No,
I mean-
yeah, neither do I.
Oh wait, I think DeVito's still playing in that game. Oh yeah,
I mean, it could go to Matt Barkley. Who knows? They're a mess. But
Matt Barkley's still playing.
Matt Barkley
Yeah.
is still
You
playing.
just got picked
We
up.
drafted Matt Barkley when Chip Kelly was there.
So that could potentially, they could. I don't know if a 4-win, 4-15. Or not 4-15. That'd be 4-13. I don't know if a 4-13 record could get them a top 5 pick. I don't think it could. There's a lot of bad teams.
Well, I also think 4-13 is their ceiling. Like I don't
that's a good
think
point.
I don't think they're winning more than 4 games.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so that's the Giants. It looks like Tressany is here. Bring her in.
What up, Tristan?
Hi.
How are you?
I am exhausted, but I'm happy to be here.
Exhausted.
Yeah, I had a long day at work today. We were super busy.
Okay, well, you got to pipe it up. Jalil said we can't be exhausted. We can't be sad because we beat the Cowboys.
You gotta be happy. It's
You gotta pipe it up.
elated.
You got to pipe it up. But welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. The show just got a whole lot of class here now. So we were just talking about the Giants and everything. I demand, like, you were the best writers I've ever seen and had a chance of working with before in my life. I am going to put a demand on one of y'all. I don't care who does it. I want somebody to write a story about. Remember when Brian Daboll was supposed to be the coach of the year and everybody kept saying he got the coach of the year?
I will write the story.
Third place finish in the NFC East. We predicted the Giants would finish third in the NFC East. The Giants finished third in the NFC East, and he gets the coach of the year award for that. I've never seen.
Ridiculous.
I'm telling you, he's the not what was the Bears head coach? What was that guy?
Matt Nagy?
Yeah. That's what Brian Daboll's Matt Nagy. That's what he is. I'm sticking to my guns.
Y'all
on that.
remember the first Black Panther movie where Michael B. Jordan's like, "Is this your king?" I'm like, "Is this your coach of the year?" Yeah, that's what I'm feeling right about now.
It's very pathetic. Okay, so let's
All right, I'm at this since we stopped talking about the Giants.
It did too much airtime.
We spent 10 minutes talking about Carson Wentz. That was my fault. Now the Giants and stuff. So let's move on.
Oh God, not Carson Wentz.
8.5 of the minutes was your rant on the Carson.
Was it that long?
Yeah, no,
you kind of went in on him.
Okay, my bad.
It's that Simpson. Stop it. He's already dead. Okay, so
right.
let's talk. Let's look at the Commanders now. Is that going to pop up? Yeah, it is. Okay. So I don't know if you guys share a different sentiment towards the Commanders than I do, but I'm all in on them winning every game now.
What?
I'm sorry. Who?
Before I was like, okay, I don't want the Commanders to do well. I would root against the Commanders. Now I'm going to be rooting for the Commanders to win every game because they're not going to do anything in the playoffs if they even make it to the playoffs, which I doubt they would. But also that would just ruin their draft capital as well. Am I dumb for this, or is this? Am I dumb brain, or am I like mega mind right now?
This is a mega mind. This is a mega mind thing.
Yeah.
Look at me.
I guess you're going to get the Eagles an easier path to the Super Bowl is what we're doing?
No. What he's doing is he's thinking about the future of the organization and not being able to have a high draft pick because they won too many games, even though they're not going to win anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're nothing. They're scum. They're scumbags. They're scum of the earth. They're dirt on my shoe. And I'm nothing but I'm rooting for the best for them.
The problem here, though, Jake, is they're going to lose like all of these games except for maybe the Giants game and the Rams game.
That doesn't mean that I don't have hope. Which I realize now that nobody said anything after that. That means I'm the saddest person.
I just think when you look at their schedule, right, Seattle's a very interesting opponent because they've been as Jekyll and Hyde as any other team in the NFC, where it's like they can win whoever they play, they can lose against whoever they play. They're going to beat the Giants. I don't think they beat Dallas, although I think that one's a little bit closer. I don't think they beat Miami because they traded Montez Sweat and Chase Young. If they still had those guys, I would feel better about their prospects against the Dolphins. I think Tua is going to have a really big week that week. I think they beat the Rams. The Jets one's a very interesting one because these are two teams that can be as good as they want every week or as bad as they want every week. And that's probably just a pick 'em where you're going to see right off the bat with those two teams how the game's going to play out. They're not, and I don't think they're beating the 49ers or Cowboys. So I see maybe like three wins,
2 or 3
remaining on that schedule. Because I mean, it's a tough schedule. It's not easy sledding.
No, not at
I
all.
feel like if they lose to Los Angeles, they quit. Ron Rivera's done. They quit.
True.
And you said the Seattle game is interesting. I think less so. I think Seattle getting spanked by the Ravens like they did last week means that they're going to come out like gangbusters.
Oh, he died again.
Set us straight, Tristan. What you see?
Okay.
I think they're just going.
So,
I don't know what the over under is, but I would take the over on that one.
Okay.
You froze there for a second, Ja. You froze it twice. It's no big deal, but he might be frozen now. Okay, go ahead, Tress.
You hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, I was just saying I think that the Seahawks will roll over the Commanders. That was basically.
I agree. What you got, Tristan?
Okay, I definitely agree. Seattle's going to take that one. They can beat the Giants. The Giants, as you know, we've already said, are terrible. I hope they can beat the Cowboys. That would be very fun for me, and I would love that. They can't beat Miami. They could probably beat the Rams, honestly. They have not played well at all this season. They can beat the Jets. I would love for them to beat the 49ers because I can't stand them, and that would make me that'd be a Christmas gift for me, a late Christmas gift. And they can't beat Dallas twice. So hopefully they'll pull it out once, but the second time, no.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I see 4 you man. Yeah, I think I don't know if Seattle's going to walk all over them. I think that could be competitive. The interesting game to me is that Miami game because Miami can't beat good teams, but they beat bad teams. So we don't know how they do against okay teams. And that's exactly where the Commanders are.
I don't think the Commanders will be able to hear the signal calls in Seattle.
I was just about to say this game is in Seattle. They are not going.
The offensive line won't be able to hear the calls.
Point. That's a good point.
Struggle.
I think I agree with seeing 4 wins on there. Nah, 3 wins. I see 3 wins, but that Miami game is the one that could potentially be 3 to 4 wins for them.
Do we think Ron Rivera gets his walking papers if that's the case?
I think Rivera has
walking papers after the LA game.
Absolutely.
I think
they'll make it through the bye week. They'll get to the LA game. They'll lose that. That's it.
I mean, if we're being completely honest, I think there's a shot that no matter what happens, he gets his walking papers just because of the new ownership group and kind of the audition. I don't think I think that the new ownership group wants to leave their mark on the Commanders, where they probably want to see how it is with Hal, but if possible, pick their own guy. They're not really in a position to do that yet. They probably want to hire their own GM, their own coach, and really just start building it the way they want to, because there's a lot of Dan Snyder leftovers right now.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jack Del Rio. He exists, so that's cool.
I want Magic Johnson to coach the Commanders.
I don't think that there's I think his walking papers, I think there's probably on his desk there's a folder with a timed lock on it that is set for Monday, January 8th. And that'll be the time that unlocks, and you're like, yeah, I knew this was coming. Or I'll be surprised because he's an idiot. Okay. Looking, but as far as their draft pick goes, middle of the road for them, probably not going to be like not going to be a top 10 pick for the Commanders.
I mean, Commanders got 4 wins. I can't remember 4 teams to beat the Commanders, but they got 4 wins. 2 or more will put them at 6 and 11.
That's not bad.
But again, there's so many bad teams that I don't think that they're going to get a top 10 pick. I think they're going to be perfectly middle of the road.
Okay, I think the Giants lose out. So they got two wins. The Cardinals, they're done.
Well,
how many more times are the Bears gonna win?
Well, I mean, to the Cardinals' point, are they done? Because Kyler is coming back.
Oh no,
they got one win. They got one damn win. Come on now.
They're over under for the season, I believe, is 4.5 maybe.
They are what I like to refer to as Dunyan rings.
Well, when I say done, like I think they can get to 3. Like I don't think they're going to be this team that's just stuck at 1 win.
Yeah,
but what are we saying here? What does that mean? What? Are you talking about the draft?
We're talking draft.
Draft position. Like I don't think it's like a complete lock that the Cardinals' own pick is going to be 1 or 2. Like I think it's more likely than not. But when you have a guy like Kyler, which we don't know how healthy he actually is, he has enough talent where he might be able to steal a game or 2 for Arizona.
Well, about
Arizona's got Atlanta at home, at Houston, LA, at Pittsburgh, bye in week 14. Well, San Francisco, at Chicago, Philadelphia, Seattle.
Well, about Kyler coming back, just an interesting nugget that was reported earlier. Jonathan Gannon went to him and said something along the lines of, "It's okay if you're not yourself," and early on in the beginning, like don't expect to be that. And Kyler laughed. It was like, yeah, we'll see. So yeah, that's the thing that happened.
Why play?
Why does he even say words?
Strong leadership from JG. Strong leadership.
Why does he even speak? I don't understand. I can't stand Jonathan Gannon.
Did you see that?
Y'all want to watch some cool stuff? Like go to the Arizona Cardinals YouTube page and just watch Jonathan Gannon do anything. Like the little weekly little thing they put together. Like just watch Jonathan Gannon do anything. He's just hilarious.
Did you see that he also lied to Josh Dobbs, telling Josh Dobbs that he was going to start, and then also telling him that he wasn't going to get traded? It's like both of those things are wrong. Stupid.
Kyler Murray is a black short of Carson Wentz. Yeah, I said it. Bad teammate. Thinks he's better than he is. Super sensitive. Can't get out his own way. Half the team is out to get him. He's a black Carson Wentz who's a lot shorter. And at this point, runs faster because Carson Wentz. I left that part out. Carson Wentz isn't even athletic anymore, which was half of what his game was.
All right, let's look at what Cowboys got going up this one. So yeah, that was we're kind of in a spot where I'm not rooting for the Giants because that's a fool's errand. Rooting for the Commanders so they ruin their own draft position, and then Cowboys never a chance in hell. So
they beat New York, Carolina.
They've got 3 really easy games for them.
Wait. So everybody this year has been talking about how rough our schedule is for that stretch. And granted, yes, rough, cool. What about this Seattle, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit stretch for Dallas? That's not easy at all.
What you're telling me that the Cowboys are going to fail in December? Man, John, don't go out on a limb.
I am.
I think because of that off-balance 17th game thing, since we have to play the corresponding team from the other conference. See, we get Kansas City and nobody else does.
Yeah, it's the number
one. I didn't like.
That's the first place schedule is why
the first place schedule. So we get the first place finisher in the AFC, which would have been Kansas City, but Dallas misses Kansas City, so do the Giants and the Commanders. So
we're going to beat them anyway. So it's okay.
They also get Detroit, but who the hell knows what Detroit's going to look like in Week 17? But going through this, New York is going to Dallas this weekend. That'll be a win for them. Carolina,
that's borderline a bye week.
No kidding, man. New York. That's pathetic. Yeah, that's easy. Washington, I think Washington will give them a game. I think Eric Bieniemy might be good. I think that things are working out. We have seen Sam Howell put together 2 300 passing yard games in a row.
About that game. This is the thing about Washington and Dallas. are they going to be able to protect him long enough? Because nobody has thrown for more yards, I believe it is, than Sam Howell. He's at least in the top 2 or 3 in yards thrown for. He's in the top. He's top 1 in the passes attempted. That's what it is, not yards. Passes attempted, he's number 1. Passes completed, he's number 1. But he's also at the top of the league in being sacked. So that that mix versus that Dallas front line is going to be very telling.
To be fair, in the past 2 games, his he's gotten sacked 40 times in the first 7 games. He's only been sacked 4 times in the last 2 games, which I mean sounds like a lot. It was to be fair, it was 1 against the Eagles and then 3 against the Patriots. But still, that's like a huge step up for him. In like 3 is still a lot, but it's still a huge step up from the 9 that he had in like week 3.
When I look at the schedule, I honestly think that their baseline's 4 wins. Like I think they're getting at minimum 4, because I think they're beating New York, Carolina, Washington at home, and I do think they're going to beat Seattle. I don't think Seattle is as bad as they've been, but I also don't think they're as good as they've shown. I think they're somewhere in the middle, where they're good enough to be a playoff team in the NFC, but they're not this, overwhelming great team. Where it gets very interesting is Philadelphia, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit, because I think Dallas matches up very well against Buffalo, and I think they can exploit a weaker Buffalo secondary. So I do think they win that one. Miami's interesting because just like Philadelphia, I think Dallas can impose their will against the Dolphins. So I think they win that one. And I don't think they beat the Eagles or the Lions. So,
really?
Yeah, I feel like Detroit is that scrappy team where they can put Dallas in a position they don't want to be in. And I think the Eagles just have, they just have the Cowboys number. And I think this is the year that they overcome their issues in Dallas. But otherwise, it's like, I don't think the AFC teams are going to give them much of an issue. Truly, I think that they're going to get out of looks like 9 games. I think they're going to get 6 wins.
So, but when it comes to Detroit, I think that they have the offensive line to offset what a lot of what Dallas wants to do. So that physicality battle up front might actually lean itself in Detroit's favor. And so I'm with you, Brandon, on Detroit being a team that could get a win off of Dallas. The Buffalo one is interesting to me because it's in Buffalo in December, in the middle of December.
Yep.
So depending on what the weather is like, that might be something that benefits Buffalo more than Dallas.
I mean, to that point though, it's also like Buffalo's not playing smash mouth football right now. They're the same team they've been every year, where they try to run the ball. It works in the beginning of the year. All of a sudden, one little thing happens, and they just turn into a team that throws the ball 50 times a game. Until I see them go back to that really power run game at times where they can control the game, I'm going to lean Dallas in that game because I think Dallas's pass rush can get to Josh Allen, and I think that their defense can slow down the Bills. And more importantly, CeeDee Lamb is going to feast on that Buffalo secondary. I don't know currently anyone on that Buffalo Bills team that is able to cover CeeDee Lamb consistently for an entire game.
No, it's going to have to be scheme. Now,
I kind of want to go back to this. So Brandon, you said that you think that the Eagles are going to win in Dallas. I don't necessarily know. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that the Eagles are going to sweep the division this year. But the one that I'm looking at is that the Washington game that's on Thanksgiving, and Dallas for like the last 4 years, maybe even more than that, have been losing on Thanksgiving. Yeah, they won last year against the Giants, but if you remember that was kind of the fluky, rinky-dink kind of BS win. I think was that in 2019 they lost to Washington on Thanksgiving. So I I am not counting a Cowboys game on Thanksgiving as a win for them, no matter who the opponent is.
But I am
Washington,
counting the Eagles
aside from a
win.
couple of fluke wins. I think the fluke wins are when Washington actually wins. I think for the most part, historically, the Dallas Cowboys have had their number. I think Dak has kind of had their number too. I think the Buffalo Bills, Cleveland Browns, and Minnesota Vikings are all cursed. They're required by law to lose big game.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know about the sweeping the division thing, Jake. I actually picked us to sweep the division this year, so that was actually one of my big predictions for the year. So we will get a dub in Dallas this year.
Hope you're right. I just
We'll see.
If I had to put my money on it, I think that the Eagles getting 5 divisional wins is phenomenal. Getting 6, mwah, chef's kiss. You can't see my face, but that's what I'm doing. But like,
you can bring down the schedule.
Yeah, you can bring down the schedule now.
That's what I'm giving it. But I don't know.
You didn't have to do the kiss thing again when you brought it down, though.
Did I overdo it? I overdid it. Let's look at one more. We're going to pull up this. Or do we want to look at the Saints one, or do we want to get into grades?
No, we don't want to look at the Saints schedule.
Okay.
Yeah. Just know the Saints suck. I hate them.
Yeah, they're awful.
Yep. And they play the NFC South, so literally any game could go anyway, except for the Panthers ones. Okay. Going into the grading for we're only going to do the offense and the offensive coordinator. And then did we say
And the head coach.
And head coach today. And then we're going to do defense and defensive coordinator and then Howie on Monday. But let's start. This seems like we should be probably on the same page for a lot of these things. Obviously, the easiest one, starting with Jalen Hurts. Let's go. Start with Jeff, and let's go to the right.
Overall season grade for Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. Overall season for Jalen Hurts. Yeah, he's the only quarterback we've seen. Yep.
Despite the turnovers, I still say above average. I wouldn't give it an A+ because of the turnovers. He's better than a B+ quarterback. I'll say A- because just gives him room for improvement and things of that nature. I think he hasn't taken care of the ball as well as we normally used to see him doing. I think the running game is suffering to some extent. And that's probably my opinion, but I think the running game is suffering to some extent at certain junctions of the game because there's no longer a threat of Jalen Hurts running because everybody knows he's hurt.
Yep.
I think that kind of helped out the running game a lot over the past few years. Like Jalil actually mentioned, DeAndre Swift is still. We're not talking about running backs yet, but DeAndre Swift is still the best running back on his team. But and actually has a chance of winning the NFL's rushing title. But Jalen Hurts losing the ability to run kind of takes one dimension away from his game. But I've still seen enough of him that he isn't always great all the time, but he's great when he absolutely has to be. And it's a huge reason why that team's 8-1. So I'll say A-.
Yeah, I was going to go A- as well. But as far as those turnovers have gone, in the first 6 games, he threw 8, or he turned the ball over 8 times. Actually, maybe. Sorry, that's interceptions. In the first 6 games, he threw 8 interceptions. In the last 3 games, he's thrown 1. So things are going back on the right track. He's playing.
This doesn't get talked about much, but Jalen Hurts has small hands. Pause. But I think probably the problem is I don't think he grips the ball as well as he probably should from time to time, and he kind of loses control of it. See the Super Bowl, anything with like a wet football, things of that nature, it kind of flutters out wrong and things of that nature. But he doesn't have like the hands of maybe like a Josh Allen or someone of that nature or Kirk Cousins. So there are times when it just doesn't seem like he doesn't have the proper grip on the ball like he should be, and I think that's kind of been some of his issues with just holding on as far as like fumbles are concerned.
Yeah, there's probably something to that. But since he's that you mentioned kind of the downfall of him having the bum wheel, now he's become a phenomenal pocket passer, like one of the best pocket passers. I don't want to say in history, but like he's become a phenomenal pocket passer. So A- for me. What about you, Ja?
I'm going to actually go a little bit above y'all and go an A. Okay, not an A+, but an A. Because of what you mentioned, turning the interceptions thing around, that's huge.
Yep.
He did have some inconsistencies early in the season, but I felt like a lot of that is the getting acclimated with Brian Johnson as the play caller now. he's come around and he's been playing really well. But I actually elevate him more so because of those last 3 games and being injured, everyone knowing he's injured and him not running, and he's been amazing from the pocket. Amazing from the pocket. So when you take a part of his game away from him to, be kind of limited in that, him to be playing like that, yeah.
So
I'm gonna give him an A.
Your difference from the A- to the A+ is that last 3 games, the kind of the change there and making better decisions with the ball.
Yeah, essentially, yes. That and playing so well despite not, being able to run as much.
Gotcha.
I have a question. I know as my job, part of my job is to know this, but is midseason spelled correctly? Should there be a hyphen in there? Or is it just all one word? Like I just got to know.
If Grammarly didn't tell you, then you nailed it.
We were all good. That just looks wrong. I'm
What
sorry,
about you,
Tristan. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I am also going to give Jalen Hurts an A. I think that if any other quarterback took the hit that he took during the Rams game, they would not be playing still. And I know that the run game is limited and he has, been in the pocket a little bit more than normal, but he's fighting through a lot of pain for us. And I really appreciate that because we just truly don't have another quarterback. I don't trust Marcus Mariota. I don't trust anybody but Jalen. So the fact that he has withstood everything that's been thrown at him this season and he's still playing as well as he is and he's not turning the ball over as much, I think that deserves an A. I mean, he definitely is not playing at the level that he was last year. I don't think he's regressed. I just think that he's just going through some different things, but he's still producing a good product for us. So definitely an A from me.
Sounds good. Brandon?
It's a real quick, Brandon, before you go, a quick nugget. We know scoring is down in the league to like 21.7 per game. The Eagles are scoring like 28 per game. A lot of that has to do with Jalen, so big ups for that.
Jalen is also the highest rated passer when trailing too, which I think is important.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like 121.4 or something like that. I don't know why I got specific and then said something like that. That's what the number is.
Yeah, so for me, looking at it, Jalen, despite, some of the turnover struggles, despite not being as quote-unquote effective as a runner, mainly due to him getting banged up this season, I'm still giving him an A because he has been that type of quarterback where no matter what the game situation dictates, he's been able to respond. Whether the Eagles have been up in a game, whether they've been trailing, whether they've been trailing by multiple scores, he has been able to respond to any and all adversity. He has been able to lead the Eagles to countless wins. And, he's just shown that toughness and that mental fortitude to not fold under the pressure, to not, cave and start playing differently because the game situation dictates it. He is honestly, out of a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL, like that epitome of just not getting too high and not getting too low, which is what you want out of a guy that is a leader on a football team. And I only think his passing is going to get better. And as he gets healthier throughout the year, or, even if he doesn't, I still think he's going to be a upper tier, top 5, top 3 type quarterback the rest of the way.
There you go. Okay, let's go to quarterback adjacent. Let's go wide receivers. This one should take no time at all. Jeff.
I'll give him Julio's finish. I really believe Julio didn't believe he's finished, but I think Julio's finished. I think the evidence of that probably would be, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think the evidence of that would be like we talked about this, Jake and Tresney, on Monday. If he can't beat the other team's third cornerback, I'm done. Like, go ahead and hang the cleats up. Olamide Zaccheaus is better than I think he's given credit for being. I think he should get the ball tossed in his direction more often. I like Zach Pascal. I think he's a Zach Pascal upgrade. Quez is Quez. Nick Sirianni says that, Quez is going to save us because, his speed, Jaleel, opens up the field for the rest of the NFL defenses, and he opens up things for the Eagles offense. But AJ is so good. Devontae doesn't get credit for being so. I think he's just as good as AJ. He just doesn't have that same size. And I think Devontae probably has a little bit better hands. So I'll probably say A- just for the fact that if they get hurt, though, this unit changes in a hurry.
I should have said we're also tying tight ends on this one too.
Okay, so it drops to a B plus then. Without Dallas Goedert, like Grant Calcaterra, I think has some ability. Jack Stoll can block but can't catch.
Yep.
I forget.
I think you include Dallas.
I still can't say his last name.
I think you include Dallas.
Yeah, I'm including Dallas in mine.
Yeah, you include Dallas in yours, Jeff.
Okay. I'll put him back in the A- range then. If you put Dallas back in there and everything. Without Dallas, it drops because you don't have that third option in the passing game that can I mean, he's just so good, man. Like, people don't realize, like, it's just hard to find tight ends who can block and catch and do it as well as he does. So, I mean, he's so good, just doesn't get the ball enough in this offense. And sometimes it's just going to happen. You got so many weapons. You got so many great players. You got DeAndre Swift, AJ, Dallas, Devontae. It's so many places to get the ball. Like, it's just going to be games where some guys get left out. But it's the unit as a whole, tight ends and wide receivers, I give them A-.
I can do mine in one sentence. It's the most prolific passing offense in the NFL. A plus.
Cool deal.
I'm also going A plus because we also put DeAndre Swift out there sometimes on the perimeter, and just that added pass catcher on top of AJ, Devontae, Dallas Goedert. Yeah. Good luck, So as things continue to come together, as they have already been great, as we've talked about how good the offense is, A plus.
DeAndre Swift is the man on Madden if you put him in the slot, by the way. Stop that, throw that out there.
Brandon, you heard that? There's a strat for you to use.
Yeah, my what do you call it? My favorite game of all time, the Madden franchise.
Wait, hold on. Don't skip the line. Trust in these son.
Oh no, if you want to go, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say very similar to what Jake said. Look, AJ Brown's probably been the best wide receiver in football this season. And maybe with Tyreek Hill challenging him, I just like the play style of AJ Brown better, being that dominating force no matter what. Devonta Smith, look, he's not getting as much passes. He's still playing fantastic football. You can't expect to have 3 all-star, all-pro wide receivers. The fact that the Eagles have 2 and they're the best passing offense in the NFL, that's A plus.
Yes, it is. Come here. We've got a little Eagles fan coming. This is my baby brother Joshua. He wanted to say hi.
What's up, Joshua?
Be able to because I have headphones. Hold on.
What's up?
I have my AirPods.
Uh-oh.
But I would like to respectfully disagree though, Brandon. Like, I'm actually averaging like 80 points a game on Madden and 700 yards of offense game in the game out. So I think the
Here we go.
a little bit since the last time we saw this franchise drop. So
You say hi?
Hi.
You want to sing the Eagles fight song? Uh-huh.
Oh, you.
No, you do it.
Now I'm going to turn on the TV.
Oh, he's silly. He doesn't know it, so he just says Eagles fly, on the road to fight. And it's the cutest thing. He won't do it because he's being shy. But
ESGSEL Eagles.
basically, he just adds random letters. It's just whatever he's feeling.
I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it for real?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Eagles fly, Eagles fly. 1, 2. Eagles fly, Eagles fly. Eagles fight.
There you go. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the
Next.
question at hand.
Nailed it.
So,
That was hot.
Got it in one.
We're muted again. Back to the question at hand, though. I would also give everybody an A plus. I do agree with Jeff, though, that without Dallas Goedert, the tight ends just struggle. Jack Stoll cannot catch for anything. He's a great blocker. Grant Calcaterra, I love him, but he's just, if Jalen doesn't have any other options, I think that he can, come in and make some great plays. But we have the best wide receivers in the league in AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, as we know. So definitely an A plus.
Sweet. And then we're going on to running backs. Let's do running backs. This one might differ a little bit.
I imagine so. DeAndre Swift is excellent. I've worried about his long-term health. You guys know I like Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott better than most. Rashad Penny, I'm a little worried about him. I saw 2 carries. Like y'all told me about the 2 carries. I actually didn't see those live. I went back and watched the game. I saw the 2 carries. And what I saw was, just being honest with you, Rashad Penny probably has the most physical talent, pound for pound, of all these guys. But I saw 2 runs. I saw holes, and he was too slow to hit them. Pause. But I just don't think he has anything left anymore. I think the guy that broke those long runs against us in the playoff game, I think he's gone. I don't think we'll see him anymore. But hopefully he can give us something in the playoffs, because I've kind of been wondering if that's the whole game plan anyway. Like maybe something is actually physically wrong with him and debilitating. They're trying to wait on him to get healthy, and then when the temperature drops and weather changes and stuff like that, they'll probably give him a few more carries and stuff to kind of salt away games, let him be the closer. But as a whole, without having an actual sledgehammer, I would say I still would put them in the A- club, because I think everybody has some ability, and I think a lot of these guys just don't get the credit they deserve. I say A-.
Man, I'm wavering between C+ and B-. Like you mentioned with Jalen Hurts, without him being able to use his legs, the running game has, fallen off tremendously since week 3, week 4, something like that. I think I saw on Twitter since week 4, the Eagles are hitting 3.4 yards per run, whereas before in week 1, 2, and 3, I guess more specifically week 2 and 3, we saw it be as good as it could possibly get. But without Jalen Hurts being that threat to run,
now, this is my question though. If you run the brotherly shove 7 times a game, you're getting the yard.
That is a good point.
That's going to tear up your yards per carry average anyway.
That is a good point. That is a good point. But what are you running that play 4 times, something like that, a game? 4 or 5, maybe, whatever. Depends on the game.
I think part of the Kenneth Gainwell's problem though is when going back and looking at it, I think he's being misused to some degree. They want him to be the sledgehammer.
Oh yeah,
because of goal line situations, because of short yardage situations. But he's also the best pass blocker. I think Boston Scott has always gotten a raw deal. You see how good he is against the Giants, and I see no reason why Boston Scott can't do that against other teams when he's given an opportunity.
And
the best run in the Super Bowl was Boston Scott's run. So
yeah,
I just think he's
3 people.
Yeah,
sick. And that's part of it too. Yeah, and Nick Sirianni has gone out and said that that Boston Scott is their bruiser when he's absolutely not a bruiser. But yeah, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because of how good they were in week 2 and 3 with running. I'm going to give them that B-. But man, it's just looked the running game has just looked incredibly different since then, and it's kind of been the difference between blowing teams out and having tight games where you need 3 offensive drives where you can't move the ball at all in the fourth quarter, and one running back runs into a wide receiver, fumbles it, and your rookie guard picks up the fumble. That happens.
Yes, you're right about that. I'm actually defer mine back. I'm gonna say B+.
I'm going to go B- with the benefit of the doubt and thoroughly acknowledging weeks 2 and 3. Ja.
I'm going to be right between y'all at a B. DeAndre Swift is averaging 4.5 yards a carry, so he's doing fine. As like Jeff brought up, I do think that brotherly shove is bringing down the yards per carry as a team. So just doing a little deeper dive there. Swift is doing fine, but I just think that we still don't give him the ball enough. I think that we don't run the ball enough, and that's the big reason why the running game has been suffering. We go through just way too many stretches of pass, and the offensive line I think would benefit more as well from it's not like they're truly struggling, but offensive line guys, they like to be physical, they want to fire off the ball. So I just think that we need to run the ball more, and it will be fine.
I got this one. I can say this. Let me ask you a question. Any one of y'all run the ball? No, Dirk, we can't, but we don't play in the NFL. Don't live in your mom's basement all your life, okay? Talk to you later.
I've broken both of my legs.
Move out of mom's basement. Stop being a troll. You're a grown-ass man. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tristan. Go ahead.
Yeah, you good. I know. I didn't finish.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jeff.
I think I'm finished now because I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Tristan. We're going to end at a B, though. We're B.
Okay, I'm going to also go B-. I would give DeAndre Swift personally an A-, and I would give Kenny a B. I think that Kenny doesn't always get used the best way, and I feel like that just makes him look bad. I think that Boston Scott never gets used well, and I think that that's a shame, like we were saying, because he's great and he is talented, and when he gets the opportunity to do well, he does. But I agree. I mean, the run game just doesn't look as good as it should for the Eagles to be the number one team in the NFL. I think we should be able to blow teams out too. I think we could put 70 up on somebody. We just have to run the ball to do that. So B- for me.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with like a B, in the sense of like I really like DeAndre Swift. I really like what he brings, and I think he fits what the Eagles do in terms of running the football very, very well. And I think his skill set fits with how that offensive line works. I think a big problem with the Eagles' run attack is I think they don't always know what they want to do with it. Where look at the beginning of the year, Swift was barely being used in that quote unquote workhorse sense because they wanted to rotate all their guys in. And then now we're at a point where DeAndre Swift is like their workhorse, even though he's been hurt a lot of the time. It's also a matter of fact that they fluctuate on how they want to use Kenny Gainwell and Boston Scott and Rashad Penny. I think if they utilize all their guys to their strengths and to the level of play that they're accustomed to, whether it's Gainwell on more passing downs and using Swift as just all around, but giving him a breather, or using Rashad Penny in that short yardage situation, I think you can see improvements from the Eagles' rushing attack. But, the more that time keeps going on, the more it's evident that all the run game is doing is keeping teams honest so Jalen Hurts can keep carving up teams through the air. And that's okay. I'd rather have that as a modern NFL offense. But if the Eagles still want to be this committed to running the football, I think the only way it improves, it's they truly figure out the roles for each guy outside of DeAndre Swift.
I like that. Yeah. No, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Hard to have the prolific running offense and passing. I mean, for how good this passing offense has been, you got to have you're obviously going to take a little bit of a dip there. Yeah. The running offense is doing its job for sure. Let's go into offensive line, and we're talking the offensive line as a whole. So we're talking offensive line with Tyler Steen, with Jack Driscoll.
Let's try to make it a little quick. I got to bounce out of here in a second.
Yeah.
A+ for the offensive line. I'm never going to complain about anything Jeff Stoutland's doing. He took a guy from Australia, a Samoan from Australia, who never knew how to put his football helmet on before he got to America, and he made him into a guy who could make a Pro Bowl. Landon Dickerson is a stud and will be a legend in this town for a long time. Jason Kelce is Jason Kelce. Lane Johnson is amazing. Tyler Steen probably had one of the plays of the game. Like, I don't have anything to complain about this offensive line. I mean, I even think Sua Opeta is Sua Opeta, and there's some – you're not going to have all-stars as starters and backups, but I have nothing to complain about with this offensive line. I still think they're the best in the league, so I'm saying A+.
I'm going to go A- purely because of the Jack Driscoll and Sua Opeta in Sua Opeta's last two games. Other than that, bang-up job.
Yeah. A+. I agree with most of what y'all said. Tyler Steen, your first start. Congrats. You get to line up against Michael Parsons. So he gave up a few pressures, but I'm not going to complain about that. Cam Jurgens is usually in that space, and all those guys are solid. A+.
I'm just simply going to say A+. They're always great, and I love them.
Yeah, I think anywhere with an A grade, A+, A-, just A. I think you could argue nitpick, here and there, but let's just face it. At the end of the day, the Eagles' offensive line has been what it is, a phenomenal unit, if not the best unit in the league, and it's a huge reason why they are it's a huge reason why they're as successful this year.
Sweet. Last one. Offensive coordinator Brian Johnson. Grade him, baby.
C, average. Again, I don't think he's made some questionable calls, but all coaches do that. I think he's I mean, we keep complaining about this offense, and you look at them, they have 400 yards of offense. They've scored 35 points. They've done all these great things and stuff. There are ebbs and flows in the game, but average could be better. I expected a lot more, but he's not terrible either.
I'm between A- and B+ for him. And I have one specific reason why. I think I'm going to go B+ because I do agree he's made some incredibly questionable decisions. Number one, at the beginning of the season, when the Eagles would get down to the red zone on the first drive, that's a scripted drive. Nick Sirianni's in on that too. So it's not just Brian Johnson with the idea to do the QB draws that never worked. But the other thing, and I wrote about this, and I kind of discovered something, is that after that Jets game, the red zone offense switched in a huge way. Just like the real red zone conversion rate, as it is, in weeks 1 through 6 was 45.4%. They were converting 45.4% of their red zone trips into touchdowns. In weeks 7 through 9, it went to 71.4%, which is a huge thing. So they changed something up. It probably has to do with the runs, whatever. They're not doing the QB draws because Jalen's hurt. They've changed things up. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper into that and get rid of the drives where the Eagles were getting down to the red zone and just killing the clock with no intention to score, you get rid of those. In weeks 7 through 9, we're looking at 76.9% of their drives. You get rid of the clock killing drives, and you get rid of the drives where the Eagles fumbled, specifically the Commanders game, the second Commanders game where they fumbled inside the 5-yard line. Sorry, I'm talking fast. 90.9% of their red zone drives have ended in a touchdown. So things are going right there now. Things have gone
Jake,
right.
Either me, I'm gonna change it to B-. I'm gonna change it to B-. My thing is though, like B- is still like above average, and it was hard for me to call him above average. But I'm gonna go B- just based off what you said. That was phenomenal work. He's
a first year offensive coordinator. He's absolutely learning. He's changing. At the beginning of the season, we were seeing Jake Elliott with the potential to break his record in points scored. That's not a thing anymore. The Eagles are scoring touchdowns in the red zone, and I'm going to give that to Brian Johnson. So B+ for me.
All right, well, I'm gonna give him a B- as well. It actually would be a little higher, but I mean, saying Nick Sirianni is in on those quarterback draws does nothing for me, but it makes me look at Nick Sirianni and dock him a couple of points as well. You know, so it's like, and it's pretty much off the strength of that. The questionable play calling at inopportune times to stall the offense out early on has gotten a lot better, but those weeks did still happen. So I'm gonna give him a little minus there. But shout out to him. I do think he's gotten a lot better, and I'm happy he's trending upwards. I think the sky's the limit. He might have a coming out party after the bye.
Man, I'm hoping.
My bad. I know everybody got to go and win overtime. And I know we holding you up a little bit, job, but at the same time too, like part of the reason Nick gave up play calling it was because he could veto calls and things of that nature. So if he's not doing that, it's on Nick. So he can manage everything. Go ahead, Tristan. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I am also going to go B-. I think that those first couple of games were scary to me. I did not know where things were going. I did not think that he was able to pivot very well, but he has grown a lot, especially since the Jets game. I do hate that it took that game to make things change, but if we had to lose to somebody, I'm glad it was an AFC team. All good. But I think I was just really used to Shane Steichen's play calling. I love his play calling. Thought he was a great OC. But I want to give Brian Johnson the benefit of the doubt. I'm glad that he is changing things up. I'm glad that he's found something that works. And I respect somebody who can, take a bad thing and turn it into a better thing. So B-.
I'm going to go with a B because things didn't start out great, where a lot of the just situational play calling I was not a huge fan of, whether it's the quarterback draws on third downs or in the red zone. And, that definitely cost the Eagles points early on in the year.
Oh, yeah.
But to what everyone said, things have changed and changed for the better. You're seeing, and this was a big thing for me early on the season as well, you're seeing finally them committing to one style during a game where they're not lighting up a team through the air and then suddenly switching to the ground game because, we feel like running the ball. No, when Jalen Hurts is making it work, they're sticking with Jalen Hurts. And you're seeing better results. And you're seeing a lot of concepts come back from last year that were being used very well, like RPO type things. Johnson keeps improving and improving as a play caller. And honestly, look, we can critique, we can criticize, but at the end of the day, it's about the full body of work over the course of a 16, now 17 game season, right? What happened in weeks 1 through 5, 1 through 4, however you want to quantify it, if things stayed that way, there would be a lot more issues than, oh, he just isn't a good play caller, because then you would be going into, why isn't Sirianni making adjustments? And then you start having a whole laundry list of things. It's great that we're already seeing those adjustments that Johnson is making now. And I do think there is a realistic chance that as an offensive coordinator, he could reach an A grade by the end of the season. Because if you keep improving and keep making the offense his own while incorporating concepts that have worked, you're going to keep having the best offense in the league and you're going to keep winning games. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Oh, yeah.
Facts.
Awesome. So, yeah, we nailed it, I think.
Matrix. We can save Nick Sirianni to the next time. See, it's almost impossible to go after Brandon. Like, what do you say after that? You're like the Jizzle from the Wu-Tang. Didn't nobody want to rap after him?
Hey, 30th anniversary of their debut album the other day.
I know it will, my friend. I know it will.
See, and I here I was thinking I was making a good point with the red zone numbers, and then Brandon's out here being like, I don't know.
Brandon being Brandon.
Yeah. Well,
Love
won't
it.
do that anymore.
All right, we good?
All good.
Yeah,
All right.
good stuff.
Excellent job as always by you guys. My brothers from other mothers, my sister from another mister. We appreciate y'all for hanging out. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for watching Inside the Eagles Live. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby.
And go Commanders.